Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with horse racing tips for Sunday the 3rd of August. Well, I believe it was a profitable day in the end because what I did is I had a couple extra pound on actually a couple of horses that did okay. I had another couple of quid on Comanche Falls that came 7th when I thought it came 8th. I got the draw wrong, but still we managed to sneak the frame. So just imagine if the draw had been our favour. So would have comfortably got the place. But in the end, I thought it'd actually come 8th. I thought we'd lost out by about, I think, about a short head. In the end, it was the other way around for a short head. Came 7th, so a bit surprised by that. Also, A Day in Bloom ran very well. I think it opened up 14s in the morning, and I did say to on the channel, I says there's no way it can be that. But I know for definite that it went to 28s. And then when I was watching the race just beforehand, it went to 50s, and I'm thinking, what? To be fair, it should have been that price anyway. I was just surprised it opened up 14s and never expected to get anywhere near 50s. So I had another couple of quid. So in the end, I had a winning day. I think naturally the channel had a bit of a winning day as well because the football bet came up, the over 2.5, £10 over 2.5 goals double. That made £33, so that was a £23 profit. That virtually paid for the Goliath. There was some returns on the Goliath, although in the end it was a little bit disappointed. It did start well. There was a very good possible cash out at one point. I think it was £56 in the end. That was after Aeronautic. I think it was in the first race that I think the jockey thought he'd won and won comfortably. But in the end he got pipped and came third. Well, I say pipped. Beaten quite comfortably in the end, but never looked like being out the frame. I could see everything rowing behind, and he was just holding on to the horse. I don't know if it was overconfident, showboating, or just caught out by two probably extremely well handicapped horses. Hurstwood was not beaten far. I think it was fifth, beaten about 3 lengths, paying first 4. We had a non-runner. And then the biggest interest was probably the each way paintants, because obviously it's quite obviously it was quite a good result because we got 33-1 Comanche Falls, which was my nap of the day, came place, and it set both of them up for a potentially nice return. So when A Day in Bloom came third in its race at 28-1, we'd got 2 28-1ers in a 30 pence each way paintant and a 40 pence each way treble. Well, the each way treble, I could have cashed out for £16. I'm like just a bit disappointed I didn't, but I didn't actually work it out how much it could have made anyway. But it could have been a very, very nice bet. But in the end, I do believe we showed a profit, but not a huge profit. It was an okay profit. I think it was a slight profit. Anyway, let's get on to Sunday. So don't get excited about these because I'm going to Galway and I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm applying the same kind of logic as when I normally pick selections in the UK. So I've looked at some of last year's races, and there's a jockey that came second in the first race, I believe. Liam McKenna has also got a ride, and I have given the horse a chance. I think it's got a decent chance. I think it's been not messed around with. I just think it hasn't been given a fair chance in some of the races where it's run over 2 mile 4, which they blatantly know it doesn't stay, but they still ran over 2 mile 4. Then it went over chase fences, and I think that was just to keep its hurdle mark at the same, because I think they knew, given the right conditions, it would have ran a decent race, and it did. It proved that by coming second at Punchestown. Well, now it's another big festival where it's Galway. So let me get into it. And that was the reasoning behind the first selection. And the first selection in a 25 pence each way Lucky 15 and a 25 pence each way accumulator is Battle of Ridge Day. 150 at Galway, and it's roughly about 8-1, but I've left the price to SP. The second selection is Mafting. I've took the price at 72 because I think it will be about that. In the 210 at Chester, I may be completely wrong. So originally I was looking to back the Joe Fanning horse. I'm a massive fan of Joe Fanning. I think he must be about 100 now. And I just think I just think at times it just seems unbeatable. The way he gets to the front and sometimes has to work a little bit to get to the front, but then he can still keep them. They've still got something left at the end, and that's not just a Charlie or Mark Johnson horse. That's whoever he rides for. He just seems to be excellent when he's up with the pace. However, I haven't gone for that horse. That horse was one of Charlie Johnson's. I've gone for Mafting. Well, this ran an OK race at Royal Ascot, but it's I don't use the word sideline, but it's not ran since. I think there could be one or two. So Charlie Johnson's horse that normally makes running is drawn 8. So either they're gonna have to make a decision and go hard from the stalls and try and get the lead, because also stalls 1 and 2 also normally race prominent and occasionally lead. So there could be I'm not saying there's going to be a battle for the lead, but there might be a bit of a sprint to first bend, and they might take each other on. I don't know. But Mafting is normally, I won't say it's held up, it's normally mid-division, or it certainly doesn't normally make the pace. It came with a run at Royal Ascot, headway 2 out at Royal Ascot, and it just wasn't good enough to get competitive. Well, this isn't Royal Ascot, this is Chester. I just think David O'Meara, decent trainer. David Nolan, not a bad jockey. I just think they've got a bit of a chance. 7-2, you'd like to think it's got a chance anyway. I'm going to sneeze in a minute. Pardon. Bless you, not pardon. The next selection is Arctic Gale in the 220 at Galway. And the final selection is Space Bear, also at 7-2 in the 232 at Yarmouth. They're not huge prices, these aren't. They're both of them in Ireland are the biggest prices. Both of them about either 8s or 7s. Space Bear won first time out. No, it didn't. It didn't win first time out at Royal Ascot. It won first time out at Wolverhampton. Obviously, it's got a penalty because of it. I do think the favourite won very well last time. So I actually saw the race. She Murphy, and it was a real slog. It looked a decent horse, but conditions were quite tough that day at Newmarket. I just think Space Bear is the most obvious one to. If the favourite doesn't run up to form, then this one could be right behind it or possibly beat it. So those are the 4 selections for Sunday. Let me just show you something else before you go. So that's the actual 25 pence each way, look 15. I put some bets on for long terms. This is more of a bit of fun. I know it's £22, but it's for the entire season. So I've gone for Alfie May to be top goal scorer. 4 places in League One. He is the favourite. He played for Birmingham last season. When I backed him at something like 11-4. This was when he were like 4 goals clear or something like that early on. The problem is they bought Jay Stansfield, which I didn't know about. I think I spent about 9 million on him, something daft like that. A million, 9 million rings a bell. And all of a sudden he was like a bit part player then, but he's still. I think he finished something like 5th or 6th last year, and a lot of time is spent on the bench. He hasn't followed Birmingham to the next tier. He's actually been. I think he was sold, and he was sold to Huddersfield, who are one of the fancies to win the league. So he's going to be scoring goals. He scored one yesterday, so I don't know what price he is now. Maybe they've even took the betting down now. I don't know. The next selection is. This is more of a bit of fun. I'll show you the other one that I had. It was a more substantial bet. It was a £40 fourfold, I think. In fact, I can't show you because it means me logging in. So Sheffield United plus 10 points on the handicap. I think they'll be right up there. I can't see them being out the top 3 again. They've got a different manager this time. Ruben. I think his name's Ruben Sellers. I think he used to manage Southampton. Basically, let's see what he can do. Big club. It's a competitive league, but I just think that maybe Southampton's and certainly your Leicester's. I think Leicester are going to struggle big time. They're pending a points deduction, and also they've lost a few players. I think Vardy's gone and all, who was still one of their top players. I just can't see them do anything. I think there's a bit of unrest from the fans. They're not happy with either the board or particularly the manager. I don't know if Van Nistelrooy is still there. But yeah. um, the next one is Barnet. Well, they lost yesterday. Barnet plus 14. They absolutely hammered the Conference League. So hopefully they can hit the ground running. Obviously they lost yesterday, but it doesn't mean too much as long as they don't make a habit of it. Barnet in League Two, plus 14 points, and in the Premiership, I've gone for Wolves. I thought they improved under the current manager, Vita Perez or something like that. Vita Pereira. 39 points, 12-1, and it's playing 4 places. Basically, this is a bit of a fingers crossed bet, really. It's not. It's just a bit of fun. So those are the bets. So I wish you the very best of luck. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.